Welcome to another episode of the Rock Fantasy Files today, and I'm here with Terry
Terry Nikas. Yeah.
from Star of the Sun, and
Yeah.
I'm here to talk about the brand new. It's your third full album, right? Inertia, coming out
Yeah.
May 15th via Napalm Records, and I guess who do I have the privilege of chatting with today, and where are you coming from today? Where are you chatting with us from today?
We are coming from Athens, Greece, and that's exactly where I'm talking to you from right now.
Yeah. And what do you exactly do in the band?
I am the singer of the band, but I also formed the band. So I'm basically doing most of the stuff management wise, and I also am the sound. I'm a sound engineer, so I happen to have a studio and I recorded and mixed this album as well.
Excellent. And what can you tell us about the new album? And let's chat about that.
Right. The band started a few years ago as an atmospheric metal band, but this album is quite different to the previous ones. This album is more. This album is more aggressive. It's less complex, I would say. And the songs are more focused and direct. It's the first time that we're having some extreme metal vocals in the album. So it takes some time to find your own sound on vocals when you just adding something like that in your voice. And so yeah, I mean it's I would call it modern metal, but if you want to be more specific about it, I would have to say that we're blending elements of Swedish death metal, metalcore, American metalcore, and probably some gent elements from the typical English gent bands like Architects, Tesseract, Bring Me the Horizon.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. And there's so many different genres of metal and how to classify. And what's the current lineup in Star of the Sun right now?
We are a 5-piece. Drummer, bassist, 2 guitarists, and myself, the singer. We also have a lot of keyboards, but we don't play them live. So on shows, we have the keyboards pre-recorded, more or less.
Okay. And is there anything you'd like to talk about? Some of the songs on the new album? You want to break down some of the songs with us today, if you'd like?
For sure. Usually on the albums, especially when I'm gonna talk about the lyrics first of all, that I'm responsible for. Usually, I tend to talk about a specific subject and talk about this subject on most of the songs, but always there are a couple of songs that they are not in that spirit. This album overall talks about how hard it was for us in Greece the last 10 years that we went through a quite deep financial crisis. And I'm trying to express a few things about the whole situation that we went through, and it was very intense for us and very dramatic. So all these events that happened affected us both emotionally, but also in our everyday life. So it's something that we experienced, and I had to take it out of my chest, and use it as a catharsis in order to maintain a balance, because sometimes you're getting so angry about things that are happening around you. And if you react in another way, you're probably gonna end up doing something that you shouldn't do. So I have this band as a vehicle in order to, to maintain my calmness and balance in life. Music-wise, I would say that we combine melodic elements with some more aggressive parts. It's a roller coaster of emotions, I would say. Some songs are hitting you hard, but some other songs are more melodic and probably I would say more melancholic.
I see.
It's nice though to have a blend of all these things because it's not a flat album, you know. It takes you through different emotions and it keeps things interesting. At least, you know, that's how I see it, and that's the kind of the kinds of music that we like to listen. You know, we have nothing against bands that play different stuff. It's just that, you know, through our band we like to express ourselves like this.
Excellent. You've got a couple. You have a video or two that came out from already from on the new album. What can you tell us about the videos and what songs were they?
Yes, already we have released two videos, two singles from this album. The first one was called "I Am the Circle." It's a song that actually is not related lyrically to the project, to the subject that I was telling you before. This song more or less talks about all the hard times that a band is going through until it reaches, you know, a proper record label to be next to the band. You get a lot of rejections, you get a lot of work without being able to show this to a wide audience, and sometimes it's very heavy for you, and maybe you think of, you know, quitting. Music-wise, this song is more, I would say, closer to the metalcore genre. Quite aggressive verses and very melodic chorus that I would say is quite catchy. And it's a performance video, more or less. It shows the band playing live in a, you know, in a studio actually. And the second video is for the self-titled song called Inertia. On this song, the band, you can't see the band. It's only a few shots of me singing, but overall it's more related to the lyrical concept of the album, and it's like a small movie, you know, a short movie of 4 minutes. This song is closer to the Swedish death metal genre, I would say. But you know, these are all our influences, so it's nice to have two somewhat different songs released, so people can see that we are not a one-dimensional band. Taking this opportunity, I have to say that there are gonna be two more videos that we're gonna release. The first one is gonna be released next week, a few days before the release of the album. For the song "Transition to Turbulence," which is shot live when last year we supported the Greek band Rotting Christ here in Athens, and it was we were direct support in a sold out show for them in front of 2,700 people, quite big venue. And it was actually the last show we did before COVID. We didn't know that. So and there's gonna be sorry.
That was what, March of last year or February?
That was January, towards
January when things were normal still.
25th of January 2020. We didn't know what was coming.
No, none of us did.
And then it's gonna be one more video. It's gonna be a lyric video almost a week after the release for the song Anastasis, which is the final song of the album.
And will this album be released on vinyl, CD, and digital? Yeah,
for the first time, we're going to release an album on vinyl, and we are very, very happy about it, because all of us, we are huge fans of vinyl, and I am a collector as well, so it's very, you know, it is very nice to see your work finally released on a vinyl. And actually today we received the vinyls for the first time, you know.
Awesome.
We have it in our hands. It's going to be released on a Digipack CD as well, and obviously everyone can find it on platforms, digital platforms, and iTunes, etc.
Yeah. You mentioned Rotting Christ. Who are some of the other bands that you've shared a stage with and over the years that you're most proud of, or some of the national acts that you guys have played with that you'd like to mention?
Well, we had the pleasure to open both for Rotting Christ and for Septic Flesh.
Nice.
Yeah, and also we did a tour with Firewind.
Okay, so all the Greek bands, yes,
Yeah,
that I've seen, you know.
yeah. But other than that, we did tours with bands like Moonspell,
Nice.
Pain, which is a project of Peter Tagtgren of Hypocrisy, if you know.
Yes, yes, yes.
We did a tour with Dark Tranquillity and Insomnium.
Love
That was
you're all the bands you're playing with. I love, so I'm sure I'm gonna like this album when it comes out. I'm gonna definitely pick it up.
hopefully, man.
Yeah, Dark Tranquillity is one of my favorite bands. I've had the honor of seeing Rotting Christ a couple times here in the States. Septic Flesh actually toured the States recently. You know, it seems like the last year just a void. So when I say last year, I mean 2 years ago. It seems like in my brain how it's working nowadays. And got to see Septic Flesh with Encephirum in New York City. But
You did?
like you know, talking about your band, but I also have the pleasure of being friends with Nervosa, and their drummer is now from Greece. Alina?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you
Yeah, I
know?
know her. She's been around here. I've got a recording studio, and she's been around here many times.
Wow.
But I
Small
wanted to
world.
tell you something that you don't know probably. I am the
Okay.
sound engineer of Septic Flesh,
Okay.
so both studio and live sound engineer. So the show that you did with Ensiferum, I was mixing the
You were
Septic
there.
Flesh show. Yeah,
That was at the Gramercy, or no, Irving
yeah.
Plaza. I think it was one of the two. And
I think this year was Gramercy because we did another one last year with Dark Funeral.
I was at that also. Yes.
Yeah, well, I did both. So
Yeah, that was. I think one was at Gramercy, one was at Irving, back and forth. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
cool. So we probably rubbed shoulders at a club in New York City at one time, which is interesting. Cool.
yeah. Next time, if you see Septic Flesh, come over to the sound engineering desk. I will be there.
Cool. Now, has your band personally ever toured North America?
No, and to be honest with you, this is one of the biggest dreams we have.
Okay.
We really hope that this album goes well, and especially at the States, and whenever tours will resume, and it seems that they will resume towards the end of 2021, beginning of
Fingers crossed,
2022.
right? Fingers
Fingers
crossed.
crossed, for sure, man. We really hope that this album goes well, and we will have the chance to come over and tour the States, because this is the ultimate dream for almost all European bands.
Okay. And have you toured parts of Europe, or have you just toured in Greece?
No, we toured Europe 4 or 5 times so far.
Okay.
And
Okay. Yep.
yeah, and we also did a Latin American tour. That was the last tour we did before the pandemic,
Okay. Okay.
We did a tour with a British band called Monuments. They
I've
played
heard of
Gent.
them. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, they at the time they had an American singer, and that was the last tour we did before COVID, and then we were working on the next album actually.
Okay. And what is the current situation in your country right now with the pandemic?
During this month and the next month, we finally received more doses of vaccines, and
Okay.
people are going to start being
Getting-
vaccinated in proper numbers, because up until now the rate was very, very slow.
Okay.
The whole European Union actually didn't do very well. For some reason, the agreements they did with the companies were not very good. So
I see. Yeah.
we are a bit behind the States and England and Israel.
Okay.
But we're getting there.
Good.
We just booked the appointments to be vaccinated in I will be vaccinated in June. So hopefully, you know,
Good.
they say that during the summer, we will be able to reach a good level, you know.
Excellent news. Here in the States, I could let you know that like some of the local concerts are starting to be booked even for June, and for some of the smaller clubs have reopened now here. And it seems like there is some light at the end of the tunnel. I don't want to jinx myself with this.
Yeah.
I'm going to knock on wood, but let's hope we can get back to some kind of normalcy again soon. And that's all we pray for. And it was an honor having you to give your time to the channel today. And what I don't know if there's anything else. What are some of your influences? I have a couple more questions before we wrap it up. What are some of your personal influences? Like what got you into the heavy metal or the extreme music, you know, growing up and made you want to be a performer?
Well, I think that the first band that got me into metal was either AC/DC or Crocus.
Cool.
I still am one of the biggest Crocus fans, you know. Eventually I got into Iron Maiden, Accept, Halloween,
Nice.
and eventually I turned into thrash metal. For some years I was a huge thrash metal fan.
Okay.
And especially whatever was coming out of Bay Area, you know, etc. I was a huge fan. Bands like Exodus, obviously Slayer. Not a huge Metallica fan, to be honest, but a huge Megadeth fan.
Yeah.
Then we discovered death metal with the amazing Death, and one of the biggest losses of this industry, which is Chuck Schuldiner.
Yes, I agree.
And after death metal and bands like Death, Obituary, Stardust, and you know all the relevant.
Yeah.
I got into bands like Napalm Death, for example. You know.
Yeah, I'm wearing a shirt.
Yeah. I was a huge fan of Napalm Death. I remember there were times that I was listening to the first two albums and then I was going to sleep at night. You know, it was the last thing I was doing before I go to bed.
Was your lullaby?
Yeah, totally.
Not a normal lullaby.
These were the bands that got me into metal and into extreme metal eventually. You know, but now these days, my favorite bands, I would say that it's Architects, Killswitch Engage. A band from Sweden called Evergrey.
Evergrey, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I was a huge Paradise Lost fan that they never got big at the States.
No, they didn't over here.
No, also Blind Guardian that also didn't become
power
big.
Metal, yeah. So you're across the board like me. You like a little everything. The black, you know, the death metal, the thrash metal. You mentioned Moonspell. I'm absolutely in love. I'm absolutely in love with their latest release, Hermitage. I'm not sure if you heard that yet, but
I didn't, but I want to check it out because they're friends also, you know. And
oh yeah, check it out. I highly recommend that album. I have been listening this year to the of course the new Nervosa with a great new lineup that I've been really popping over that, and the new Cannibal Corpse just dropped out for death metal. It's a really good release from them. So cool. Anything else you'd like to add to your fans or the viewers of the channel before we wrap?
Well, first and foremost, I wish everyone to remain safe and have the less losses possible, because we've been in an extremely tough situation, especially you over there. It was for some time was really, really bad.
Yeah.
After maintaining our health, which is the most important thing, I really hope that people will have the chance to check out our videos on YouTube, and if they like what they see, they can, you know, support the band by purchasing anything they can, you know, they would like the CD, vinyl, or merch, you know, T-shirts, etc. And as I said to you before, the main purpose is to go back to tours and manage to tour the States as much as possible, because this is the ultimate target for us.
Okay, okay. Yeah, some bands will say South America is like more popular now, but yeah, it's interesting, and of course, it's always great to get to New York City and see these, European bands come in, which I'm very passionate about the European scene, and bands like you mentioned, like Dark Tranquillity and Rotting Christ, and some of the black metal outfits too, and it's been a weird time we're living through, but we're taking it one day by one foot at a, one step at a time, one day at a time is all you can do right now,
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
And do you have a website for the band?
Yes, the official website is scarofthesound.com.
Okay.
There's you can find everything there, all the information about the band, and also we have a online shop that people can check out.
Excellent.
And we have a presence on almost all social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Just type Scar of the Sun, and
I'll make sure we put the links in the video description on the YouTube thing, and this probably go up early next week on the channel. And thank you very much for your time today. And
thanks very much,
stay
myself.
safe and heavy metal, and stay safe in Athens. All right.
Stay safe, man. It was great talking to you, and thanks very much.
Thanks.